Welcome back to Book to Read, everyone. For episode 19, we're diving into Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451.
Oh, Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah. So imagine a future where firemen don't put out fires.
Right.
They start them to burn books.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the world we're stepping into today. And our guide is Montag, a fireman who begins to question everything.
It's so interesting how Bradbury just throws us right into this dystopian setting where, like, mindless entertainment is everything.
Yeah.
And books are like the enemy, you know? It really makes you think about what's actually valuable.
Right, and from the start we meet Montag, and his world is totally flipped upside down after meeting Clarisse McClellan.
Yeah.
She's this curious young woman who makes him question, like, everything about their society.
Clarisse is like the catalyst for Montag's transformation.
Oh, yeah.
She encourages him to see things that he's become, like, blind to, like the lack of front porches.
All those front porch
spaces that are, like, made for conversations and community. Right.
Yeah.
She represents this way of life that's been lost in this world. Thinking for yourself and actually, like, connecting with people.
And that contrast is so clear, you know?
Yeah.
You have the parlor families on the TV screens constantly being shown shallow entertainment.
Right.
But then you have Clarisse, who finds joy in, like, nature and real conversations. It makes you wonder, like, have we traded genuine connection for instant gratification, you know?
It's a question that's even stronger today, you know?
Yeah.
Bradbury wasn't just predicting the future. He was holding up a mirror society and making us face the consequences of our choices.
Yeah.
Like, how often do we, you know, choose to scroll through social media instead of having an actual conversation?
Exactly.
Are we really engaging with the world or just, you know, consuming?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And Montag starts taking huge risks by stealing books, risking his job, his safety, everything, to just get a glimpse of this knowledge that has been erased.
It becomes like an obsession for him, like this forbidden knowledge.
Yeah.
And then there's this turning point when we meet this old woman who decides to burn with her books instead of living without them.
Oh.
And she even says, play the man, Master Ridley. We shall this day light such a candle by God's grace in England as I trust shall never be put out. It's chilling, you know?
That scene gave me chills, and the historical connection to book burnings just it hits home, you know?
Right.
Makes you think, do ideas really die when books are burned?
It's a tough question, and Bradbury leaves us to think about it.
Right.
But it shows the power of ideas, you know?
Yeah.
Even if you burn every copy, the ideas can live on in the minds of people who've read it.
Right.
And the actions they take.
Exactly, and then we meet Captain Beatty, Montag's fire chief.
Right.
He's charismatic, he's well-read, but he's totally in support of this book-burning society.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's trying too hard to convince everyone, including himself, that books are dangerous. Do you think there's something more to his support for all this censorship?
Beatty is fascinating.
Right.
He's a manipulator, you know?
Yeah.
Using his knowledge of literature to defend destroying it.
Wow.
He says that books are contradictory, confusing, and they make people unhappy.
Oh.
He thinks controlling information and making people happy quickly.
Right.
Those are the keys to a happy society. But his insistence on burning books while saying they're meaningless seems contradictory, right?
He definitely raises some questions.
Yeah.
And it gets even weirder when he says firemen can keep one book for 24 hours before burning it.
Right.
What's the point of that?
It's control, isn't it? Like, by giving them a taste, he creates this illusion of choice.
Oh, okay.
While showing them who's really in charge.
It's like dangling a carrot and then snatching it away.
Exactly.
This whole system seems designed to keep people in the dark, afraid to think for themselves.
That's it. And it's this lack of freedom that makes Montag go to Faber, a retired English professor living in fear.
Right.
Desperate for someone who gets the value of knowledge in books.
Faber becomes his mentor, guiding him to a deeper understanding of literature and thinking critically.
Yeah.
He says, there are 3 things you need for a meaningful life: good information, time to process it, and the right to act on what you learn. Aren't those the exact things this society is trying to get rid of?
Absolutely. They've replaced good information with entertainment, taken away free time with work and distractions.
Yeah.
And they've stopped people from acting on their beliefs.
Wow.
It's how you make a society of mindless consumers.
And Faber uses this analogy of the sieve in the sand
Yeah.
to describe Montag's struggle to hold on to knowledge when the world is trying to wash it away.
It's a great image,
Yeah.
of how fleeting information is with all the distractions we have.
It reminds me of how we take in information today.
Yeah.
We skim headlines, scroll through feeds,
Yeah.
but how much do we remember? Are we really learning or just skimming? It's a good question to ask ourselves.
Yeah.
And with so much information out there,
Yeah.
it's really important to have tools that help us focus on what matters.
Right.
Which is why I love the Bookspace app.
Me too.
It's amazing for book lovers to connect, share quotes, organize their libraries, even join book clubs.
Like having a community of readers right there.
Exactly. It's great to stay organized, find new books, and talk about what you're reading.
Yeah.
And if you feel overwhelmed by all the information out there,
Yeah.
Bookspace can help you focus on what's important.
Absolutely.
So check it out.
Definitely.
Now back to Montag. He can't keep this new knowledge to himself.
Right.
He tries to share it with Mildred and her friends, thinking they might get it.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that scene where he reads Dover Beach?
Oh, yeah. So powerful.
And Mrs. Phelps, one of the Parlor family, has this emotional breakdown.
yeah.
Like a crack in her perfect little world.
Exactly. A glimpse of real emotion in a world that only cares about looking good.
Yeah.
It shows how suppressing our feelings and not connecting with real experiences can backfire.
Right.
We're not meant to just be numb and content all the time.
It's a reminder that we need art and real connection to really thrive.
Absolutely.
But sadly, for Montag, trying to share this knowledge, well, it backfires.
Oh, wait, there.
Mildred betrays him,
Yeah.
choosing her fake family and her comfortable illusions over her husband's life.
It's crazy how she dismisses books, even when her husband's safety is at stake.
It's heartbreaking.
But it shows how well the system works.
Yeah.
Making people want instant gratification and just fitting in above everything else.
And then things escalate quickly.
yeah.
Captain Beatty shows up at Montag's house,
Oh, no.
and he knows something's wrong.
Uh-oh.
The tension in that scene, oh my gosh.
It's intense.
Beatty is like a predator circling its prey. You know?
Yeah.
He uses his knowledge of literature to taunt Montag, playing mind games to break him. And then he says that firemen can keep one book for 24 hours, like he knew Montag would fall for it.
It really makes you wonder about Beatty's motives.
Yeah.
Was he trying to help Montag see he was wrong, or was it a setup?
Right.
Did he want Montag to choose destruction?
It's so complex,
It is.
and then it explodes into violence.
Oh, no.
Beatty provokes Montag,
Yeah.
almost making him use the flamethrower.
Pushing him to the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Montag destroys the very symbol of the system he used to serve.
Wow.
It's a powerful act of rebellion, but also a tragic loss.
Yeah.
And he doesn't stop there.
Right.
He attacks the other firemen, destroys the mechanical hound,
Wow.
and sets another fireman's house on fire.
He's really fighting fire with fire.
Montag's rage it's out of control.
He's become what he hated, a destroyer,
Yeah,
but now he's burning for a different reason, to break free.
right. And he's running for his life with the whole system after him.
Yeah.
But before we get into his escape, let's talk about Beatty's death.
Okay.
Do you think he wanted to die? Was it like a sacrifice, a way to escape the system he was part of?
That's a question that's stuck with people for years.
It has.
It's hard to say, but it does feel like Batty was conflicted.
Yeah.
Maybe even disappointed with the world he helped create.
Right.
His death, whether he meant it or not, just adds another layer to this already thought-provoking book.
It really does. It leaves you with more questions than answers.
It does.
And speaking of questions, we have a lot more to cover in Montag's journey.
We do.
He's on the run trying to find the book people.
Right.
This secret group of intellectuals who are keeping knowledge alive in the most amazing way.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that in part 2 of our Fahrenheit 451 deep dive.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
I'm excited. Welcome back to our Fahrenheit 451 deep dive. We left off with Montag running, fleeing from this society that's basically outlawed knowledge and individuality.
It's amazing to think he went from like burning books to becoming a living library himself.
Right. It's like he's gone from being a tool of this oppression to a symbol of resistance.
Totally.
Embracing the very thing he was taught to destroy. But before he can really join these knowledge keepers, he's got to survive, right?
Yeah.
And his escape is like a masterclass in suspense.
Oh, for sure. He has to outsmart the authorities, dodge that terrifying mechanical hound, even setting another fireman's house on fire as a distraction.
That's right, using their own tactics against them.
Talk about fighting fire with fire.
It's a desperate act, but it really shows how far Montag has to go to break free from this system that's trapped him.
It's like he's shedding his old skin and trying to become someone new.
It's a painful process of self-discovery, you know?
Yeah, he even tells Faber, I don't know anything anymore.
Yeah, he's lost, but in that there's also a sense of possibility, right?
He's finally free to think, to question, to explore.
Exactly. And Faber, even though he's scared himself, keeps guiding Montag.
He's a good mentor.
Yeah, he provides advice, a safe space, and most importantly, encouragement.
Their relationship is such a great example of mentorship.
Right. Especially when things are tough.
Yeah.
Faber reminds Montag that knowledge isn't just facts, it's about understanding ourselves and the world.
And he reminds him that survival is key. They know the authorities will do anything to stay in control.
Yeah, even sacrificing people. Remember that staged capture on TV?
Oh, yeah, it was chilling.
It's a brutal show of power, you know?
It is.
The government uses media to create a fake story.
Right.
To stop dissent and keep control over people.
It's scary how easily truth can be twisted.
Yeah, especially when people aren't encouraged to think critically.
It makes you wonder how often we're being fed stories that fit someone else's agenda.
Right. And how do we tell what's true when information is always being messed with?
It's a question that's more important than ever.
Bradbury was warning us about propaganda, you know?
Yeah.
We need to question what we're told, to analyze different viewpoints, to look for multiple sources.
And that's where books and literature are so important.
Absolutely.
They give us different perspectives, challenge what we think, and help us think critically.
Yeah.
They give us the tools to navigate a world that's constantly telling us what to think and feel.
Exactly. And that's why the book people are so important.
Yeah.
They're a beacon of hope.
They are.
A reminder that even when things are bad, there will always be people who want knowledge and will fight to keep it safe.
It's amazing their commitment to memorizing entire books.
It really is.
It's like each person becomes a walking library,
Yeah.
holding history, philosophy, poetry, all things that make us human.
It's such a powerful image.
It really is a testament to the human spirit.
And the power of stories, you know? Even when the books are gone, the ideas can live on in our minds.
And it connects back to oral storytelling, passing knowledge down through generations. It reminds us that knowledge isn't just facts. It's about stories, about connecting, about what makes life meaningful.
And it's through these stories, this shared knowledge, that they believe they can rebuild.
It's not just about the past, it's about the future.
Right.
And finally, Montag reaches this group.
Yeah.
It's a moment of arrival, finding a place where he belongs, where his love for knowledge is celebrated.
He's found his people.
Yeah.
A tribe that gets him, who share his passion for learning and thinking.
It's a beautiful moment of hope.
It is, but the story doesn't end there.
Right.
They're still facing this world torn apart by war, a society that's fallen apart because of ignorance.
The bombing of the city it's like a symbol of self-destruction.
Yeah, the result of ignoring knowledge and suppressing thought.
It's what happens when a society chooses easy pleasure and fitting in over thinking and exploring.
And yet, even with all that destruction, there's still hope.
There is.
The book people survive, they see the city burn from afar. It's heartbreaking, but also kind of like a relief.
It's like the old world had to be destroyed to make space for something new.
Like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Exactly. And in that moment, Montag realizes his responsibility. He's not just carrying stories, he's carrying the potential for a new beginning.
He's become this vessel of knowledge that could guide everyone to a better future. And as they walk away from the ruins, you can feel the hope and purpose.
They're not just survivors, they're pioneers.
Yeah, carrying the torch of knowledge into a world that desperately needs it.
It's a hopeful ending, but also a bit haunting, you know?
It is.
It reminds us that even when things are terrible, humans can be resilient.
Right.
Losing a city, a way of life, doesn't have to be the end.
It could be a new start.
And Fahrenheit 451, even with its dark setting and warnings about censorship and technology, it gives us hope.
It does.
It reminds us that knowledge is power, that stories can connect us, and that even when things are bleak, the human spirit can endure.
It's a challenge to us.
It is.
To be aware of our choices, the information we take in, what we value.
It wants us to be active in shaping our world.
Not just taking in whatever's given to us.
And it reminds us that even small acts of resistance, like reading a banned book, can make a difference.
Yeah, inspiring others to question, to think, to fight for something better.
So as we wrap up this part of our dive, we're left with a lot to think about.
We are.
What stood out to you? What can we learn from this story and apply to our own lives, our communities, our world?
For me, it's that knowledge is power, and stories have this amazing ability to connect us, to inspire us, to lead us to a brighter future. It's a call to protect knowledge, to value books, to never stop questioning, exploring, and sharing the stories that make us human.
Absolutely. And if you're looking for a community of people who love books and stories like you do, check out the Bookspace app.
It's a great platform to connect with other readers, share quotes, find new authors, and talk about books that have touched you.
Bookspace is a community that celebrates reading and the power of stories. A place to find your tribe, expand your reading, and connect with people who love the written word just like you.
So if you haven't already, give it a try.
You might just find your new favorite book or connect with someone who loves Fahrenheit 451 just as much as you do.
And with that, we come to the end of part 2 of our Fahrenheit 451 deep dive.
Join us next time as we finish up this amazing novel and explore the lasting impact of Bradbury's powerful message.
Welcome back to Book to Read. We're finishing up our deep dive into Fahrenheit 451, and we'll be exploring, well, what happens after the destruction, the power of memory, and the hope that remains even in the darkest times.
Last time, we left Montag finding refuge with the Book People, this amazing group that memorizes entire books to preserve knowledge.
It's really something, isn't it? Each person becomes a living library, protecting the words and ideas that could bring back culture.
It's a testament to how strong the human spirit is.
It really is.
Even when the world wants to destroy knowledge, these people keep it alive inside themselves.
They get it, Stories aren't just words on paper. They're the lifeblood of society, the connections to our past, present, and future.
And they're not just passively holding on to these stories.
No, not at all.
They're waiting for the right moment to share them, to plant the seeds for a new society based on knowledge and understanding.
Exactly. They know rebuilding doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
It takes patience, strategy, and understanding people, They see themselves as guardians of this legacy, passing on wisdom to the future.
But while they're doing this, the world outside is falling apart.
Yeah.
The war that's been in the background, it reaches this devastating climax.
The bombing of the city, it's a powerful symbol.
It is.
Of what happens when you ignore knowledge and suppress thought. It's the result of a society that chooses instant gratification and conformity over real thinking and exploration.
And yet, even with all that destruction, there's still a glimmer of hope.
Right.
The Book People survive. They see the city burn from a distance. It's heartbreaking, but also like a relief.
It's like the old world had to be completely destroyed to make room for something new.
Like a phoenix rising from the ashes. And it's in this moment that Montag understands his responsibility.
Yeah, he's not just carrying stories, he's carrying the potential for a fresh start.
He's a vessel for the knowledge and wisdom that could guide everyone to a better future.
Exactly. And as they walk away from the ruins, you can feel the hope, the purpose.
They're not just survivors, they're pioneers.
Yeah, leading the way with knowledge into a world that really needs it.
It's an ending that's both hopeful and haunting.
It is. It reminds us that even when we lose so much, humans can still bounce back.
And that losing a city, a way of life, doesn't have to be the end.
It can be a beginning, right?
Fahrenheit 451, even with its dark setting and warnings about censorship and technology, it ultimately gives us hope.
It does.
It reminds us that knowledge is power, that stories connect us, and that the human spirit can handle anything.
It challenges us, though.
It does.
To be aware of our choices, the information we consume, what we value.
To be active in shaping the world we want.
Not just accepting whatever we're given.
And it shows us that even small acts of resistance, like reading a banned book, can make a difference.
Yeah, it can inspire others to question, to think, to fight for something better.
So as we wrap up our Fahrenheit 451 journey, what are your final thoughts? What can we take from this and use in our own lives, our communities, our world?
Well, for me, it's a reminder that knowledge is power, that stories can connect us and inspire us, and that we should cherish books and never stop questioning and exploring.
It's a call to be guardians of knowledge and to keep sharing the stories that make us human.
And if you're looking for others who feel the same way about books and stories, you should check out the Bookspace app.
It's a great way to connect with fellow bookworms, share your favorite quotes, find new authors, and discuss books that have moved you.
It's a community for celebrating reading and the power of stories, a place to find people who love books just like you.
So give Bookspace a try. You might discover your next favorite book or connect with someone who shares your passion for Fahrenheit 451.
And with that, we come to the end of our Fahrenheit 451 deep dive.
Thanks for joining us on this literary adventure. We'll be back with another exciting deep dive into a new world of words and wonder. Until then, keep reading and keep those minds thinking.